What if I told you that one of the most revolutionary scientific theories of all time, E equals mc squared, might not have been the work of one man alone? There are stories hidden in the shadows of history, stories of women whose brilliance was overshadowed, whose names were forgotten, even though their genius helped shape the world. Today, we shine a light on one of those forgotten minds, Mileva Marić, a brilliant physicist, a gifted mathematician, and quite possibly the silent co-author behind Albert Einstein's most iconic work. But who was Mileva Marić, really? What role did she play in the birth of modern physics? And why has her name remained in the background for over a century? In this video, we dive deep into the untold story of the woman who may very well be the real mother of E equals mc squared. A pioneering mind erased from the spotlight, but not from history. Mileva Marić was born in 1875 in Titel, Serbia, at a time when women in science were almost unheard of. From a very young age, Mileva displayed an extraordinary intellect, especially in mathematics and physics. Her father, recognizing her rare talent, defied societal expectations and fought to provide her with an education usually denied to girls in the 19th century. By the age of 18, Mileva had already shattered one major barrier. She became one of the first women ever admitted to the prestigious Swiss Federal Polytechnic in Zurich, now known as the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, ETH, Zurich, one of the few institutions in Europe that allowed women to study science. She was the only woman in her physics class, and it was there, in 1896, that she met a young, rebellious student named Albert Einstein. At 18, she was not only stepping into a male-dominated world, she was standing out in it. The connection between Mileva and Albert wasn't just romantic, it was deeply intellectual. Their letters are filled with equations, shared theories, and scientific enthusiasm. Einstein frequently referred to our work, our theories, and our papers. In one letter dated March 27, 1901, he wrote, "How happy and proud I will be when the two of us together will have brought our work on relative motion to a victorious conclusion." After years of working side by side, Mileva Marić and Albert Einstein married in 1903. They had 3 children, a daughter named Lieserl. Not much is known about her. It's said she likely died in infancy or was given up for adoption. And 2 sons, Hans Albert and Eduard. Mileva was more than a supportive partner. She was his scientific equal. Her command of theoretical physics and mathematics was so strong that Einstein reportedly once said, "I need my wife. She solves all my mathematical problems." While Einstein is often credited with groundbreaking ideas, historians and scholars suggest that Mileva's role was not only significant, it may have been foundational. She had a particular brilliance for tackling the complex mathematical derivations that Einstein struggled with early in his career. Together, they explored ideas that would later become the bedrock of modern physics, including the early development of what would eventually be known as the Theory of Relativity. But as Einstein's fame grew, Mileva's name began to fade from the narrative. Her contributions were quietly erased, and the world forgot that behind the famous physicist stood a mighty woman whose genius may have helped reshape our understanding of the universe. In 1905, the year that would later be called Einstein's Annus Mirabilis, or Miracle Year, he published 4 groundbreaking papers, including the one that introduced the equation E equals mc squared. But something strange happened. despite years of referring to our work. After 1905, Mileva's name vanished from the narrative. Many scholars believe that Mileva not only contributed to the mathematical formulations, but also helped shape the very theoretical structure that led to the principle of mass energy equivalence. She had studied the works of Helmholtz and Boltzmann. She was as immersed in advanced physics as Einstein was. So, how is it that her name disappeared from history? The truth is murky. There's a little official documentation, perhaps deliberately so. But one thing is clear. Mileva Marić was never credited. Her ideas, her calculations, her presence, quietly buried beneath the rising fame of her husband. And the world missed the chance to recognize the true mother of E equals MC squared. At first, their bond was both intellectual and emotional. But after marriage, Mileva's world began to shift. With the weight of domestic expectations, her scientific ambitions were forced into the background. She never published under her own name. She never taught. She never received the acclaim she so rightfully deserved. Imagine being a scientific genius, only to be and being remembered by history as only someone's wife. As Einstein's fame grew, their relationship began to deteriorate. Social pressures, the era's structural sexism, Albert's emotionally distant nature, and his affairs strained their union. Unfortunately, in 1914, Einstein presented Mileva with a cold, humiliating contract to remain with him in Berlin. It included demands like preparing 3 meals a day, not speaking unless spoken to, and leaving his room on command. She went from his intellectual equal to a basic live-in employee. Heartbroken, Mileva returned to Zurich with their sons. Their divorce was finalized in 1919. That same year, he married his cousin, Elsa Lowenthal. They had been having an affair since 1912. Yes, his cousin. As part of the divorce settlement, Einstein promised Mileva the full sum of any Nobel Prize money he might receive. When he won in 1921, he kept that promise, a quiet, perhaps guilty acknowledgement of Mileva's role. But history largely forgot the woman who had once been his intellectual partner and the mother of his children. If you're enjoying this story of a forgotten genius, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more powerful stories of women who changed the world. Drop a comment below if you think Mileva Marić deserves co-credit for E equals MC squared. Your voice helps rewrite history and helps make sure women like Mileva are never forgotten again. Mileva Marić's later years were marked by profound struggle. Financial difficulties loomed large, and much of her life was devoted to caring for her son Eduard, who suffered from schizophrenia. Through all this, she remained quiet, never publicly claiming credit for her contributions to Einstein's work. Whether out of trauma, modesty, or a desire to shield her children from controversy, we may never know. Yet those around her knew the truth. Some of Einstein's colleagues privately acknowledged Mileva's brilliance, and her early academic records even surpassed his in mathematics. She wasn't a footnote. She was a force. Today, more researchers and historians are re-examining her story. The letters, the timelines, the ideas. It's all being looked at with fresh eyes, and the evidence is difficult to ignore. Institutions have begun including Mileva in conversations about scientific discovery and feminist history. Her name is finally entering the rooms it was once locked out of. Mileva Marić was a woman born ahead of her time, a physicist, a mother, a silent collaborator, and a trailblazer. She broke barriers in classrooms, in laboratories, and in life. She helped raise the questions that redefined the universe. even as the world tried to define her solely as Einstein's wife. She didn't win a Nobel Prize. She never became a tenured professor. She didn't even get her name on the theory she helped shape. But her legacy lives on, not in awards, but in inspiration. She's become a symbol for all the brilliant women erased from textbooks, not because they didn't contribute, but because they weren't allowed to be seen. Why is Mileva Marić a mighty woman? She defied societal expectations to pursue science. She co-developed foundational ideas in physics. She raised children under difficult circumstances. And she endured the quiet erasure of her intellect with dignity and strength. Her resilience in the face of institutional neglect and personal sacrifice is a reminder that being mighty isn't always about standing in the spotlight. It's often about continuing in silence, lifting others, and never letting go of who you are. Today, Mileva Marić's story is finally being rewritten, not just by historians, but by people like you who refuse to let her be forgotten. Her life teaches us that greatness doesn't always come with glory, and that recognition often lags behind truth. But make no mistake, Mileva was great, brilliant, brave, and bold. Her story is our story, while unfinished but powerful. Mileva Marić, the true mother of E equals MC squared. A mighty woman, at last remembered. If this story moved you, give this video a like and share it with someone who needs to know Mileva's name. Please drop a comment below. Should she be credited alongside Einstein for her contributions? Because the truth deserves a spotlight. And Mileva Marić deserves her place in it. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stories.